welcome everybody to a very impromptu state of the SEL. I was worried this show wouldn't even happen tonight because Auburn was looking like they were going to go to overtime earlier today, but thankfully they lost as per usual. So I'm here talking Rocket League now instead of football, and I have a full panel with me today. It's the first full panel of the season. I'm going to go one by one and introduce everybody, but hopefully you all know these friendly faces from the SEL community. Though the guy to my left is fairly new to the SEL community. Teeehan is the manager and coach as well, Teeehan, of George Mason? Just manager.
So, I'm just the manager.
Okay.
The coach, I believe the coach is JK. He was a former player of ours a couple years ago. Been really helpful to us. So yeah, it's been us two, and then our team, Titanium, Devin, and Jay. So
heck yeah, Teeehan joining the SEL along with George Mason, and two regulars. The guy in the bottom left of your screen, you'll have seen his car a whole bunch. And if you watch Valorant as well, his observing for the SEL. That's the Shaka. Shaka, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. First time on State of the SEL, so I'm excited.
Yes, sir. Happy to have you. Repping the orange as well for UTK.
Yeah,
you had to.
Tennessee played football today, and I was not able to watch I was able to watch a lot of the game, but not all of it. So repping them. Got the orange lights in the background and the orange sweatshirt on.
Awesome. And in the bottom right's Big Dyln. His camera doesn't crop perfectly, so he just looks massive on the screen. And he's eating a Costco, what do you call it, chicken wrap?
Chicken bake.
Chicken bake.
That's how you know. That's how you know I'm a regular around here. You know, I just came in. I was really hungry. I put that other thing in my microwave, and I'm gonna be not munching on this for a little bit. But happy to be here again, of course. You know, happy to be here with my guys. Happy to see everybody. So excited to talk about some ball.
Heck yeah. Yeah, TJ, Dyln is eating right now. He's just woken up from a nap, so gotta get the food in. Be fueled up. Sorry to out you like that, Dyln.
It's entirely true, man. I'm not offended.
All right, so we are here tonight because the SEL had a whole qualifier this past Wednesday. We went from 72 teams that entered the qualifier, the most teams we have ever had in SEL. It's more than we actually had the entirety of last year. And all but like 2 of them, I think, competed in the qualifier this past Wednesday, which is phenomenal. So kudos to all of you players for showing up mostly on time. And I'm going through what was a fairly long bracket of best of 3s and best of 5s. But we whittled down that 72 into a top 64, and then that top 64 into a top 16. So we're down to 2 divisions for the SEL this season. And I mean, guys, I gotta get your experiences in the qualifier. Right? 2 of you made Division 1, or 2 of you were on rosters or managed rosters that made Division 1, and 1, despite ringing flits, unfortunately, we're playing in Division 2 with the rest of us. So I'm going to start with the guys that didn't play with full pro players on their rosters. Teeehan, your first experience with the SEL, how was it?
So with the qualifiers, it was interesting, you know, especially with the website. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. I was managing both our Patriots and our Academy team at the same time, so trying to go back and forth between them was a little hectic. But with the qualifier themselves, it was solid. I think USCB gave us a little bit of a run for our money for a second, but we brought things back, you know. Kings of the reverse sweep for no reason. Had to play 2 UTK teams. One of them is in this call with me, so.
Wait, we don't talk about that series.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. Very excited for this upcoming semester for SEL for both our Patriots and Academy team.
And I'm gonna put the bracket up on the screen as well while I am talking, because Shaka, I mean, you have been moved from the UTK A team, unfortunately, but you're killing it on UTK White right now. You guys made Division 1. You were one of the top seeds. You did lose, unfortunately, to GMU, but
we'll get our get back.
You'll get your get back. And I mean, how was your experience? And how's the team looking?
I mean, I always love the SEL. I've been playing in it this is my 3rd year now playing in the SEL, and it's always a great time. and it's always fun to just have something to play in. And now we've got so many more teams playing in it. We've got the first time that UTK White has actually been decent. No shade towards the previous UTK White rosters, but the first time we've got a solid 2 teams in the SEL, and then our D team, UTK Black, making tier 2.
Yeah.
Our C team didn't make it, but our D team did, so they're now getting promoted to C team over UTK Gray. Sorry to those guys, but it happens. But yeah, I mean, through the qualifiers, felt pretty good. Had a little bit of a rocky start. We kind of were just not meshing well together, and then started like unironically just playing the game. And then we started feeling a lot better. So, and yeah, I will say that USCB team, they're tough. They're different for sure. And makes them pretty difficult to play against. But we were able to stretch it out with them in a sweep. And I mean, like Teeehan said, we did lose to George Mason on the upper bracket qualifier match, but we're looking to get revenge once we get to group play, or at least take a game next time.
Yeah, and you got your match over USCB. It was a weird team. Like T-Man just showing up in a nomad is already weird. But they have an odd play style as well. And to your point about UTK's C team not making it with the D team making it, I kind of played myself. So for those that don't know, I keep track of stats for the SEL. And now I have to give UTK's D team all of the like group stage stats instead of their C team, who have just qualifier stats now. And it's my own fault, because I coached my Huntington College guys to beat your C team in the qualification match. So I'll take full blame for them not making it. But that's speaking of my Huntington College guys, this match right here, we played KSU B with Flitz. Dyln, what happened pulling Flitz into the bracket?
Okay. Now, let me preface this for all of chat. Flitz played for 2 games. And Flitz played because Night Owl, our main third for the day, his game genuinely stopped working. Flitz was coaching and spectating us, and he was asking, his name is Hoji. He was asking Night Owl, he's like, hey, is your game good? Like, you're stuttering in the spectating. He's like, no, like, I've been freezing since the game started. So we subbed Flitz in, and we were also under the mindset of like, okay, we don't care like about making top 16 as much, but like if we don't make the league at all, we're gonna be furious.
Yeah.
So we're like, Flitz, hop in here, let's make the league, and then whatever happens after that, we'll take it with a grain of salt. Except we got swept by Clemson B twice. I'll be honest, I have no words. We sold a 2-goal lead in about 30 seconds, and we got scored on the kickoff, and then we lost.
They were on a tear though. Clemson B was.
Yeah, Clemson, and I mean, respect to those guys. I mean, I checked. I mean, you know, because you always check the stats of the teams you're about to play, and I saw that, and I was like, oh, it's a GC3 and 2 peak GC1s. You know, we have more fundamentals. We should beat them, but they were just winning. They were just balling. So I've got respect to those guys for sure. I mean, they beat us twice, and then they went on to almost beat their main roster in a 5-game series for qualifier. It's like I can only be so upset. We didn't have a good day during that qual run. 2 of them were late. I don't want to even get into that. They were late, and then we just weren't clicking. But you know, we're still in the lab. We're still trying to work. We're still trying to improve. And the season hasn't officially started for SEL yet. You know, we're in the group stage, but we haven't actually played any matches. So there's good to be coming, hopefully, probably. And yeah, it was a rough day, but we bounced back.
Fair enough. And this next question, with regards to the qualifier, I'm going to open up. So we'll see what answers pop up. But was there like a result that caught your eyes? And we'll talk about the top 16 in depth here in a second. But I mean, just looking at the bracket, and you have to take a second to look at the bracket. I don't know if you guys followed it completely, but like, was there a result or 2 or 3 that really surprised you guys? Feel free to just toss them out there.
I've got a few. I've got a few.
let me spit the first one out. My former team against UGA. Buds losing 3-1 or losing 1-3 against UGA. I mean, the UGA boys, they balled out. I was watching it and like they were playing well, but I mean, considering the strength of Buds, even without me, because those guys, I mean, they're still amazing in their own regard, like definitely for sure. And they just weren't clicking in that match. I mean, they did have to sit for like an hour and a half, and iciness it sometimes melts over time. But still, that was a bit of a shock to see, especially in the game that they won it very dominantly. So it seemed like they had just had the classic Buds, we lose game 1 and then we sweep the next 3 games, but that was not the case. The UGA boys pulled out, and huge kudos to TJ, Dane, and of course my goat Cooper Trooper, who beat the Shanghai Sharks allegation and made it back to the main roster and succeeded. So that was definitely a big shocker.
Yeah, Shaka, you had several.
I have several. First off, Full Sail making it to upper bracket qual match was a shock to me. I thought for sure that, well, first off, King forfeiting against them doesn't help. But then to one up that, they then beat Montevallo to go to the qual match, which I thought was kind of absurd. And then Montevallo beats King in losers. So King, even though they forfeited, they still lose to Montevallo eventually anyways. And that was a LAN team last semester that had like genuinely earned their spot at LAN last semester, and now they're not even in the top 24. So it was kind of interesting to see that happen. NKU making a run through all the way up into to make top 16 was also pretty crazy. I didn't expect to see them making it all that way either.
NKU was, I don't know what got into them. I mean, UNCC Academy is a good team, and 3-1ing them is a solid result. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have played against Northern Kentucky, but that's a team that plays so odd. I put them in the same category as USC Garnet or USCB. Like, their play style is just so odd, because Pig has to carry sometimes, and he plays the game so strangely. It's fun to watch.
I've had my fair share of run-ins against Pig, and he's definitely even when he's playing with Toasty, he plays the same type of play style where it kind of seems like he's trying to carry. And even with like such a strong player like Toasty, they made it work, and they were extremely scary. So him now having or needing to be that player that has to kind of pop off and take the wheel. I mean, I can see how they're able to upset a lot of teams, but at the same time, instead of trying to beat, one player and then an RLCS player, you're just beating one player.
And Teeehan, I know you were managing 2 teams throughout the bracket, and you guys made sizable runs. Anything catch your eye, or any of the matches that your guys played really stand out to you?
Yeah, so I mean, there were a couple. I guess the Florida versus USC. I think that going into it, I could have given it to any team. I don't think that was too crazy of a match, but I do think on a good day, USC could come out on top on that. Haven't really looked at Florida all that much, so maybe we'll see some things happen for USC there. Just going down the bracket, FIU and NKU going the distance to Game 5 is also a little interesting in my opinion. I can't really talk though, because like I said, we went to Game 5 against USC, so there's gonna be some matches that are like that. The Clemson A versus Clemson B is insane to me.
That's a classic.
That going all the way. I'm not as familiar with Clemson A, and definitely not with Clemson B, so I don't know if Clemson B is just the GOATs. I mean, Dyln, are they just like that?
Dog, I gotta be honest, man. Them boys were balling. like I can't even.
That's respectable.
I the whole time, I mean, me nor Flitz could literally say something that was like pinpoint what we could do to improve. Like, those guys literally just had us on the ringer, and I've got respect to them. I was mad, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, we underestimated them, and they punished us for it, and that's all there was to it. They're just good. I can't even hate.
Valid. That's valid. Can't underestimate. Can confirm. Still just going down. I guess for some people, maybe the ODU versus Kentucky was kind of maybe an upset. For those that don't know ODU, they are like a ranked B roster. A lot of people underestimate them. I rank them very highly. They always go the distance with us too, so that's why I rank them pretty high. JMU versus Buds. That's pretty good. Oh, our academy team ended up beating Cumberland, I think it was. And that I kind of found interesting. I thought Cumberland was going to be a little higher up. I know they lost Rhyolite, they lost Spurf. But I still thought that they were going to be a very solid team. They still were a solid team. But I was surprised to see our academy team beat them, especially because our academy team went in with a sub too. So it worked out for us. So not going to complain about that.
Yeah, Cumberland's interesting because they're 2/3 their former B team from last year with the End of You and Aurora, which I never know because Aurora's been around the scene for a while and I never know what to expect from him. And I mean, Shaka, you've played against him several times, haven't you?
Yeah.
Like he's a very mechanical player, but his mental isn't high enough tier, I think, to really be as successful as he could be. So Cumberland's an interesting team this year.
Well, and I know, like, playing against Aurora, our strategy was always to basically dive on him whenever he had the ball, because the one thing he always wants to do is have space, and if you
guys leaking
don't
strats.
give him space, yeah,
This guy's leaking strats live.
it's okay. He's not even in tier 1, but whoops, no, but. Yeah, we'd basically just never let him have the ball and just dive on him immediately, and he would get frustrated, and the series would be over in game 1. Like, and unfortunately, that's just kind of how it would go a lot of the time with him. Because if you have a team where you've got like one really strong mechanical player that creates almost all of your offense, if you're able to get in their head really early on and they're not able to do what they want to do with the ball and they get frustrated, then they're going to start getting desperate, start playing desperate, and they're going to make bad decisions, and it's easy from there.
And it's worked. I believe you guys played them on land, didn't you? Like the BB this past spring?
Yeah. We 10-0'd them on land in game 1, and then finished off the 4-0 perfect sweep. So
because that was supposed to be Buds, I'm pretty sure. What we were supposed to have in bracket play, and then they upset you, Dyln. Is that what happened?
No. Hold on a second.
Okay.
I was not playing. Don't get it
okay,
twisted.
that was before the substitute?
That was pre-me.
Okay.
No. And
on me.
that was Cumberland V, I believe we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, I've no record against Cumberland, I believe. I have yet to play them as a player. No, I was still a super sub. This was pre me being good at the game. But fun time. I still watched. That was a rough watch. That drive home was was rough. But it's alright. It was still a fun experience.
Hey, real quickly, I do want to put light because I'm just looking at this because someone mentioned it in chat.
Yeah.
UAH Blue ended up beating Houston like first round.
Yep.
Took a game off UTK, went to lowers instantly, and then lost again to Houston, who made the lower bracket run of the century, where they didn't lose a single game other than to UAA. So that's kind of impressive from Houston being able to bounce back like that. So
I will say
brought that up.
I did talk to Space Captain, the captain of the UAH Blue team, that night, literally the night right after quals, and he told me two big things about Houston. Well, first he said that them, like in UTK, were doing a turtle off, and that's how they won their game. But then after that, Space Captain said that don't look at Houston's goal differential or game differential because that's Montevalo's fault. That they have such a high goal differential, but that they went to lowers and underestimated them, and then they had heated up by then and beat them.
Yeah, that run was impressive because Space Captain messaged me in between the game he took off of UTK. He didn't mention, by the way, that it was a turtle off. He just said, look at this, we took a game off of UTK, you should have seeded us higher, and then proceeded to lose in game 3 to Houston. So Space, yeah, he's got to work on some things. UAH Blue has to work on some things, but that's a good run. I caught some flack for seeding Montevala as high as I did, but they did beat King, who's another interesting roster. It's so interesting. At the top of Division 2, I don't know what to expect from. Because Full Sail as well is in that Houston run, and they had a weirdly successful run because they haven't typically been a team in the past that you look out for as a threat. I mean, Shaka, did you hear it all from UTK, like the A guys, what playing against Full Sail was like? Because I watched some of that stream and they were kind of messing around a bit, but like Full Sail was scoring a good bit.
Yeah, from what I know, we have a little bit of history with Full Sail. We've played them before.
Yeah.
And Cody remembers this one guy in particular on Full Sail's team called Hybrid Casts.
Yep, he's a captain.
Yeah, and he usually streams his games, and we played them, I think it was last semester in the fall, or in the spring, with like once Cody or Crisp had come onto our team. And we like always watch back the VOD if someone's streaming the game, whether it's a player or caster, we always go back and watch it back, see what they're saying about us. See if they find anything about our gameplay that we didn't notice from our side. And something that Hybrid had done was basically anytime he saw us like pre-jumping each other or kind of trolling a little bit, he'd be like, guys, they're trolling, we need to jump on them and try to win this now because this is our best opportunity. And Cody thinks that maybe this is VM for calling him out, but Cody thinks it's hilarious, which I feel bad for. No shade towards any of the Full Sail guys, but when they saw they were playing Full Sail, they were like laughing and happy because Cody was happy that he got to play Hybrid again and saw that someone was streaming it, so he was like, this is gonna be great, like we're gonna do it again. like we're gonna torture this poor kid again. And so that's kind of all that I heard from it.
Okay.
Because we were like right in between games of about to play George Mason, so we were trying to lock back in.
So the UTK and Full Sail squads have a rivalry, is what I'm hearing. It's a little one-sided at the moment, but
a little one-sided, yeah.
But Full Sail still looking decent. I mean, made a good run, getting to that one series away. Still a tough competition, but I do want to talk about now top 16, because this was an issue that I had personally with the bracket. Is, in my opinion, this is a little spicier than I normally get. I don't think the top 16 is the top 16, and I think this is doing a little bit part to how the bracket played out with teams kind of rematching each other. I think that was a mistake. I don't know how that happened. But Teeehan, I want your opinions first, and I know you're just now kind of getting into the SEL, but from what you know, do you think Division 1 is the true top 16?
No, definitely not. If I were to like look at teams that didn't make it that I think you could argue could be top 16, I'm looking at Buds, I'm looking at maybe Kentucky, UNC Academy, FAU you could shout. I don't know if I'm missing anyone else. Maybe King even. I don't know exactly what happened with King. I don't know much about
ECU too.
ECU was not bad. Montevallo, yeah. So there's a good amount of teams that like could have made it. I don't want to like call some teams out. Do I think they may have gotten a?
I do. I'm kidding.
Do I think they may have gotten a Mickey run? Maybe. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're in top 16, so they have something to prove now. So we'll see what happens. And then obviously once LCQs and stuff happen like that, then obviously we'll get our legit top 16 from that. So.
And Shaka and Dyln, what are you guys thinking about this? What are your opinions?
I mean, I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
He kind of said it like that he was, but he said it in a nice way. Some teams definitely got Mickey brackets, like 100%, like just straight up. Which, you mean, it happens. Like sometimes that happens, and they still made it at the end of the day. So kudos to them. They still had to beat the teams that they're matched up against, but maybe some of their strength of schedules weren't as strong as some of the other teams that either made it or some of the other teams that didn't quite make it and barely got beat out by a team that is in now that people would rate higher.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's it's interesting, and the bracket, like you mentioned, Bepic was very much in the way like people rematched each other, and it kind of takes away a little bit of that competition in a sense, because it's like, oh, we played this team before, we can just win again, or we played this team before, we know how to beat them. And you typically only see that in like a small scale bracket when it's like a top 8 maybe or something like that, but we had 64 teams and you're only playing the same, what is it, 8 teams possible?
Right.
No, not even.
8 or
Like you're only
9.
playing a couple small group of teams.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's going to be the same ones, especially if you get knocked out and losers first, like what happened with us. And of course, you also have to bring into the factor of who shows up on the day or in that specific series. But, you know, I think I genuinely do believe the main team that I feel should be top 16 is Buds. I think that if they're playing probably anyone else except UGA, they're making top 16. I mean, Buds, we have a relatively mediocre history against UGA. They just I don't know, they play how to beat us, but I say us, I'm not there anymore, but it's just unfortunate. And the bracket was interesting, but I mean, regardless, it's still going to be a fun season.
Yeah, I think the only team that I have an issue with, and I actually will say this, like, I think Clemson is a team that can compete in Division 1, but their run to get there, and someone said it, Maysow might have said it himself, like, their wins to get there were Huntington College and their B team twice. I think that was the run that Clemson A had to qualify, and that's something that I don't think should happen. Although their B team was giving them a fight, so maybe like beating their B team was enough to get into the top 16. But I don't know. I'm still excited, and NKU as well. Like I think they might struggle, but hey, they took FIU to Game 5, and then they beat UNCC Academy, who's one of those teams like that we've kind of mentioned could be top 16. So it'll be interesting. That's why the format like comes back together for the last chance qualifier, is we get kind of a redo. And just to say, like, as someone in the back end, that bracket issue will be fixed. Like, we're gonna do the flipping for the spring. So sorry about that. I typically notice that sort of thing. Like, I didn't make the bracket, but I typically notice that and bring it up before the qualifier. But didn't happen. It's whatever. But fair enough. Any other comments about the top 16 before I move on?
I was just gonna say, like, looking at the uppers, I think it is clear that the teams that were ranked going into it, top 8, I think every single top 8 team made it.
They did. In the upper bracket too.
Yeah, so like the top half of the league, I think is like very confirmed. Even like teams after, like, say like 9, 10, even 11, like I think this league like is very like even in competition, so we'll see what happens. I think like towards the very bottom end of it, we're gonna have like it's gonna show which teams maybe shouldn't have made it. But yeah, like I forgot who said it, but it'll be a fun league either way. So
can't wait for it. But I'm gonna move on really quick. This is something that happened. We were all having our little powwow after the qualifier. If you are in chat right now and you are a team leader for Rocket League or for Valorant, I doubt I have any Valorant users or Valorant gamers while watching this because it's all Rocket League. But join the SEL Rocket League committee, because we factor in team leads and game leads into our decisions. Like, we'll ask for advice and that sort of thing very frequently. And Shaka, Joe's your game lead. And Dyln, are you on the Rocket League committee?
Fred has not added me yet. He said he would like 3 weeks ago.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I know Teeehan is, but I mean, Shaka and Dyln, you guys have been in the league. I'm sure you've been around the committee discussions. How have you seen it kind of impacted and the value of it? Because I mean, we never really know like if something we do adds value, but I feel like the committees definitely help.
Yeah, no, I like the committee a lot just because it allows it allows like the tournament to get feedback from the players. Like you said, that's the whole point of it. And I feel like there's a lot of tournaments throughout all levels, like collegiate all the way up through like pro, that doesn't really take what the players are saying or the players' advice at all to try and improve it. And so us doing this, it also helps, like, it also gives us part of that like sense of community that we do have in the SEL, I mean, like, there's such a good community here, and I think having the committee also helps bring that together, in addition to just making the league overall more fun for everyone.
And shout out Sarah in the chat right now with the SEL Discord. Yes, join the Discord as well. If you're not in the Discord, you should be in the SEL Discord. So good shout, mod of the year, Sarah, in chat at the moment. But yeah, Dylan, we'll get you added as soon as this stream's over. Fred gets busy sometimes.
Oh
That's
yeah,
why
he's
he
a
has
busy
help.
guy. But thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred.
That'd be Fred's.
All right.
If I could toss just a little thing in about the committee, I mean,
Yes.
if anybody was in the SEL last year, I think we all remember the competitive integrity incident, and I think just having the committee in general that allowed the issue and topic to be discussed amongst players helped so much more than leaving all of us in the dark, and just having a couple people decide on it. I just feel like that's something that makes the SEL better than other leagues, is that we had the opportunity to do that, and you know, regardless of what the events ended up being, like, it was still something that was allowed to be talked about.
And reach out to me or Fred if you want to be added to the committee also. Like, DM me on Discord, because if it's in Twitch chat, I'm not going to remember that after the stream. Nor do I want to sift through Twitch chat to do it. So basically, I see your message. Hit me up on Discord, or Fred as well, but I'll probably do it right after the stream. So, thumbs up. Anything else to add, guys? Or are we moving on to the spiciest part of the stream?
Hot takes are coming
I
up
love
here.
hot takes. I love hot takes.
All right, power rankings. So, this is always one of the spiciest parts of the SEL, and I had the 4 of us rank the Division 1 team. So no power rankings for Division 2 tonight. This was short notice. I didn't want to have to go through all of D2 to power rank it today. And so we have compiled our power rankings into one list of the top 16 that feel free to comment on in the Twitch chat, but I'm going to put it up really fast, and I know I showed you guys this already in the production channel, but feel free to give me your first reactions, like, staged again, so it's your first reaction again here.
Beautiful.
I
So
think
beautiful.
I think it's great.
I think we
it's-
ate.
Yeah.
Can we get a poll in chat? Did we eat? Let me know.
We got it somewhat there.
Somewhat. What do you mean somewhat?
No, don't worry about it.
No. Let's have this conversation. What do you mean by
No. We'll go down the list. We'll go down the list. Don't worry. Actually, let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom up. I think.
Okay.
We should
Okay.
go.
All right, I'm putting a poll out. So feel free. It's my first time doing a poll. Yes or no on the good power rankings question. But we'll start at the bottom. I think, because this was very consensus between all 4 of us that NKU is number 16 and Clemson is number 15. Like, we all agreed on that. And I think that's fair. I think it's the 2 teams that kind of came up, in my opinion, that could have easily not been in Division 1, might have benefited from an easier run in the bracket. And I mean, any comments on them? We've kind of, like, lambasted them a little bit this stream, but that's the price you pay in the D1 spotlight.
I mean, I see Snipes saying UGA is Mickey on God and UGA over Clemson.
We're not
is
talking
crazy.
about UGA right now, man. We're
But
talking
no,
about
I know. But
NKU.
I'm gonna get to Clemson. All right, and NKU. The difference is UGA had to beat Buds, and Clemson had to beat Clemson B to make it in.
I don't know.
So I would say Buds would make it over Clemson B as well, but they couldn't make it in over Georgia. So that's why that's why I put Clemson there behind Georgia and NKU. And I mean, personally, I know, like, all of Clemson's in the chat right now, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna rip the band-aid off clean. I think 15 might be the highest I could put you on the list throughout the whole season. I don't see you guys getting any higher than that, unfortunately.
They'd have to do a crazy upset,
Yeah.
like multiple,
yeah.
and it'd have to be multiple. It couldn't be a one and done. Like, they'd have to show multiple upsets against, I'd say, any team over 10. for me to actually believe that they are higher than that position. Because I feel like everybody on this list below the top 8 could beat the other. It just depends on who shows up on the day. But
yeah, fair enough. I agree. Like, they would have to pull some upsets to move up in the rankings, and we'll see if they do it. We'll see where the Bepic hat on the draw show puts them in their group. We've got a 5th member of the panel joining us. What's the cat's name, Shaka?
This is Emily. Sarah and Coop were yapping about her in chat. She's been meowing next to my chair for the past 20 minutes, so I'm just giving her some comfort so she'll shut up.
When I come up there in a couple of weeks, don't be surprised if she's gone.
You guys say that every time, and she's still here.
And it's gonna happen one day.
All right. Anyway, cat break over with. Number 14 is UGA, who they had a quality win over Buds, who was a team that we think could be top 16, and they made it in there, and we still didn't put them really above any other roster that's solidified in top 16. So what are we thinking here? I know they're in chat as well, so let's see what the opinions are.
I had them the highest. I had them at 12. I think with that quality win, like we said above, teams like Clemson and KU, who didn't really have any good quality wins, maybe, and KU on UNCC Academy. But Houston, in my opinion, I think they're a little too high up. I think TJ said that earlier as well. I think Georgia possibly could be higher than Houston, maybe Alabama. We'll see. But I think Georgia's maybe a little too low. We'll see though.
I kind of want to sprinkle some thought and perspective into why I rated Georgia lower, even though they got the win over Buds. And I bring up the point I brought up earlier that UGA just wins against Buds. Like, that is a team that they just win against, and that's okay. I don't think that them being able to beat one good team consistently makes them better than everyone else who can probably beat other teams consistently as well. Like, if you have one good head-to-head against a good team, that doesn't make you the best team. That makes you able to win against that specific combination. And so I do think that UGA has tons of potential. I just think as of right now, with their only win being over Buds, and that being their most quality win that they've done before, it's it doesn't rate that highly. And they also lost to Buds earlier in the tournament as well. So it's not like they stomped Buds twice. Like, they won the second one, and I just feel like as of right now, I can't give them any more kudos besides the fact that they made top 16. But I'd love for them to prove me wrong and show me that they're better than that, because I love those guys, and I know they're super fired up to be where they are.
It's hype. It's hype seeing them getting hyped and getting that chance in Division 1. After all the roster turmoil last year, TJ's finally found a roster that's sticking and grinding it out. And the CCS as well, which we will talk about later on. They're starting off hot. And, they beat FAU on Tuesday Night Lights the other night, which is a pretty decent win as well. And they're figuring it out. But right above them, we've got Alabama. And pretty sizably above them, 0.7 value above them. And Alabama is another, I think, interesting roster. That, Shaka, I'll start with you on this one. That plays Rocket League. I always call them inconsistent, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. It's definitely inconsistent, but the thing with Bama is that I personally have a lot of respect for Bama, and that is because when they are playing on, I genuinely think they can take a game off of anybody in Tier 1. Not win a series, but take a game off of anyone in Tier 1 when they are on. But when they are off, they could drop a game to just about anybody. Like, literally anybody. I could grab my cat and then find two homeless guys off the street and give them controllers, and they might take a game off of Bama if Bama's off. So it's they're usually their consistent form is pretty solid, but they have very high peaks and very low floors. So because of that, I think at their most consistent, I think they probably beat all the teams below them and keep it close with the next 3 or 4 teams above them, at their their normal consistency. But if, like I said, if they're on, then I think they could maybe make a run to make it out of groups to go to playoffs.
I honestly think Bama is the team that benefited the most from making Division 1 because they don't have to have that competition that's like really below them that could pull an upset off of them, whereas they're always going to be playing up for the most part, and that usually favors them. But we'll see. Also, the poll has ended, and it was 10-3 that this is not a good power rankings list. So we're only a fourth of the way through explaining our list, but the people have spoken.
Yeah, that's called UGA, and Clemson are upset that we rated them at 14 and 15, even though it's true.
Okay, I'm actually going to go back to the UGA thing real quick.
Okay.
I'm looking at CCS right now. I see Georgia's, one of their wins is against a newly formed Georgia Tech. And I didn't realize this, but Georgia Tech now has Pirates, who is the same player that was at Northwood when he won the CRL World Championship.
What?
Okay.
So
I will
Yeah.
let me give some clarifying on that. Let me give some clarification on that. And this is quotes. I'm calling him out. He's in chat. I'm calling him out. These are quotes from Coop himself saying we shouldn't have even dropped a game to them because Pirates is washed.
Wow.
And that's what
that
Coop
bad.
said. That's what Coop said to me. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. See, he says it in chat too, that this is real. He did say that to me, that Pirates is washed. We shouldn't have dropped a game and given him that much respect. That's what he said. So
that is still a very good player, and even
Yeah.
if he's washed, I still like him on that Georgia Tech roster. I think, give him some time. I know he is a busy man after like the Northwood thing. I think he went to go work somewhere. I don't know exactly what his story was, but I do know if he starts grinding the game again, that man is going to be a really good player.
yeah.
Same as so.
Wow.
But I'm still counting that as a quality win for Georgia. So.
Oh yeah.
Fair. I didn't even know that. Like the Pirates was going to Georgia Tech. That's such a quiet
that's news to me.
transfer.
So I feel like it should be bigger. I mean, CRL World Champ should even if he is washed, that's still
Yeah.
name base is still a big deal because that unlocks a lot of potential for that team. And speaking of potential, I did want to touch on Bama for a second. I have never, out of all the teams I've played on LAN or was supposed to play on LAN, I had never been so afraid of Bama because I didn't know which version that they were going to be. And I mean, we played Bama twice at Volan. We beat them both times. I think it was 3-1 and then 4-1. But I mean, it literally, in that one game that they won, they played so well. And it was okay, here we go. We're going to have to lock in because if they get to their ceiling, we're done. Thankfully, they didn't reach that ceiling. Monk did. He scored a musty. It was cool. But that Bama team, they have a lot of potential, and I feel like they can hone in on it. I mean, that's going to be a threatening team no matter who you are.
And moving on as well, I'm going to lump them together because they're new and we're so close in our power rankings. Old Dominion was narrowly above Houston in the 11 spot. And I mean, Houston Old Dominion, very new to the SEL. Houston competed in seasons 0 and 1, I think. It's been a minute since we had a Houston roster in the Southeastern Esports League. But I mean, you guys that know about these teams, please shed light on them because all I saw was Houston's lower bracket run and Old Dominion looking decent in the bracket, being seeded 10 at the last second and then going to game 5 against Kentucky. So I don't know what to think.
I'll touch a little. Oh,
okay.
Sorry.
No, you got it.
Okay, mine's quick. I only know a little bit about Houston, and that's just because me and one of their players go way back, all the way to when I was 14.
Wow.
We used to grind the game together, Zolfi, way back in the day. And so I know he's solid. There was a point where he was destroying me every single time, and all the way up until a year and a half ago where he was extremely dominant. I know he's been to 2K, nearly 2100 in twos before. So he's a very solid player. I don't think he's been taking ranked very seriously for the past year. He just kind of plays for fun, and so seeing him compete again, I'm interested to see what ends up happening with that roster, because I know of him. I don't know how his teammates play or anything like that, but I know he is a solid player, or at least was a solid player.
And Teeehan, you had thoughts?
Oh yeah. So for Old Dominion, I know of them because I actually told them to join this league originally because
Ooh.
we were both playing in the Mid-Atlantic conference before we switched over to the SEL. They had an ownership change basically over there, and then it just did not end up going the way they thought it was. So we ended up switching over to Southeastern Esports League for both our Rocket League and Valorant team. And yeah, so we've played them for the past 2 years now. I think their roster with Kuro, Goat God, and Pea Shooter is, I believe they're all a rank B roster. Okay. All have touched SSL before. I do know they don't like play seriously, but when they are playing seriously, I would consider them a top 8 team in the league. As of right now, I think they do have to prove themselves, obviously, to a lot of people because not many people know them. But yeah, last semester we played them in our MAC Grand Finals. Ended up beating them 4-2, but I mean they were close games, and yeah, that team can be scary, and that was with Josh on our team back then too. So I give them a lot of respect, and I think through the semester a lot of people will too. But yeah, for now I think 11 is solid just because not a lot of people know of them right now. But make sure to have them on your radar.
All right. And I also played in the CCS as well. I think the majority of our top 16 is playing in the CCS, which is dope. We get like parallel results to compare. And then tied actually for 9th. And Shaka, you have some stake here. South Carolina and your team tied in our rankings for 9th. And what are your thoughts about being tied with South Carolina?
Yeah, so personally, I never lose to Cats. Never have, never will. So I think we'll go above them eventually anyways. And they went to 5 with Florida, which means that we can go to 5 with Florida or beat them. So really, we're top 8. That's my thoughts.
All right, Dyln and Teeehan, anything?
You go first.
I mean, thank you. I played USC once. We swept them on land. I think that team, as of the last I'd seen them, they are a whole lot of potential. They just haven't been activated, and I think we keep writing a lot of name, especially Og, and we're just assuming, oh, but they've got Og, they're gonna win. And not that discounting Og as a player, but I mean, like, you have to actually look at team play and not just base it off of name to give it ability, which is why I rank them below UTK White. I've seen UTK White perform with players that people don't know as much, those being Agonize and Zach. And you can just take that as you will. I mean, they've got potential, but as of right now, I genuinely feel like I feel like 8th isn't a bad spot, or 9th, I guess. Like that's not a bad spot. Like you're not at the bottom, you're not at the top. You have yet to prove yourself, but you're not being discounted, if that makes sense.
And Teeehan?
Yeah, so I mean, we've only played UTK White one time. We swept them, but they were still really solid. I think all 3 games were close. Okay, so still a lot of respect for them. USC with this new roster, because I think they lost Solar, right?
Yeah, they did.
Now it's okay. So I give it a lot of respect for Cats and Og. We played them. It's what's it called? Boost on the Beach. That was in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
The past 2 years, USC the first year took us to game 5, and then last year we played them in group play. It was not a great land from us overall, but they still ended up beating us, I think 2-0. So I got to give respect to them either way. Og is still a really good player. So yeah, I mean, I will say I do think that Og, he is a great player, but I don't think he has the carry potential that, say, maybe Hammy Crackers has on Florida. So that may be a hot take, but I think he is a great team player, but he isn't able to carry USC maybe to top 8 by himself. So Definitely gonna need a lot of help from Cats and I don't know their new third. Who's their new third?
SJT. He's in chat right now,
SJT.
actually.
Hey, SJT, I need you to step up this year. Come on, man.
No,
And he said,
actually,
he said as well, like quoting SJT right now. He said, "Once he finds his role in the team, it's over." Which, fair enough. Like Solar, I think was the third best player on South Carolina, and they're all three really good players. So that's not an insult at all. But if SJT can like fill that defensive role that Solar brought, and then maybe add some of his offensive spice as well, I think that team is going to be really good. Although SJT, you got to help them sort things out on land, because like here, Teeehan, hearing you say that they've beaten you a couple times on land is a little surprising, because I've heard this from Katz himself. He says they are not a land team at all, and I think comparing like South Carolina, like them on land versus them online, completely different teams, because they bombed out a boost on the beach as well. Not boost on the beach, bluegrass boost battle. Too many B lands around right now. But that's why like UTK White, I wanted you guys in that Tuesday Night Lights match to play against the full strength South Carolina, because like
I
Shaka,
wanted
you
to.
guys destroyed them, but it was without Og, and so it doesn't count in my head. I need the
That's
matchup.
fair. No, yeah. I mean, I wanted Og too, so I wanna beat him with Og at least one time, just to prove ourselves. And I mean, I know we can do it, so we just gotta show up whenever we play them, or if we play them in group play at all.
All right, so we do need to move on as well. Sorry, Sarah, you've been timed out as well with the 10K point redemption. Shout out Luigi in chat.
Real shout out Luigi.
My goat.
But as well, Florida is the next team up. They were seeded 8th, and South Carolina was seeded 9th as well by our big brain seeding committee. They went to game 5, so I think they're very close, especially based on that result. And this is with an infusion of hammy crackers. So if you live under a rock, Florida is now True Raid, Larry, and hammy crackers, with Kyan stepping in as well occasionally. And this team, it could be scary, but they haven't gotten there yet, and it's been weird to watch. Dyln, what have you seen from the Gators?
I haven't seen too much. Now,
Okay.
I was having a conversation with somebody, and they were mentioning that they felt that the Hammer Crackers edition truly wasn't going to be that big of an impact.
Yeah.
And I truthfully agree. It was you, Caden. I was trying to save you face, but I agree.
No,
I
it's okay.
do believe that Hammer Crackers is a very solid player. However, I don't think he has that carry potential that Teeehan speaks of. I don't think he has that. What I do think he has is two very capable teammates in Larry and True Raid. Now, those guys, I've seen them play before, and I've seen them play very well, but I feel like now that they have an activator like Hammy Crackers, they can definitely reach new heights. And I think that's what's going to make Florida good, not Hammy Crackers himself, but the possibilities of all three of them. And I want people to put a little bit more respect on the rest of them, not just, oh my gosh, Hammy Crackers, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what
Yeah.
makes that team good entirely.
And real
Yeah,
quick, like I want to say just briefly that with that Florida roster, all the series that I've casted with them, Larry has been the highest performing player statistically. Hammy Crackers has not been. So I'll
Yeah.
leave that there.
Well, and I think, and this is the same thing with Og, but also with Hammy, is that like both of them are very good players. You know, don't get me wrong; they're both great players, but neither of them are carry players. Like there's some players that are definitely like very obviously carry players.
Monk
Neither of
Jr.
those two are that type of player. They play for their teammates really, really well, and they're amazing at what they do, but a lot of that still comes down to their teammates being able to perform with what's given to them.
All right, so I'm gonna step in. I'm gonna say y'all are capping because, okay, when Hammy was on FAU, see, I don't know about this past year because obviously CRL wasn't a thing. But back when the CCA Opens were a thing, we would play FAU like to either qual for top 8 for the CCA Opens. I guess it went to top 16 when they combined East and West.
Yep.
Hammy carried FAU every single day.
He was their carry, yeah.
I know
yeah.
it was Mitra, and then I forget their third.
Damage.
But yeah, so no disrespect to them, but Hammy is what made that team that team. Without Hammy, that team is just not going to like even come close to top 16. So
I
Yeah.
will say,
Yeah.
I will say that same FAU roster was getting swept by lots of teams in the SEL or beat by lots of teams in the SEL that weren't playing in the CCA Opens at all.
Okay.
So
Very true.
that FAU
That's
team,
fair.
while they were good outside of the SEL, when it came to actually in the SEL, and Hammy said it himself on Twitter, and I'm gonna quote him because I like to annoy him. He said, "Why would I try in a league full of nobodies?" Is what he said about the SEL, and then when it came to time for playoffs, said, "We're gonna try and lock in so we can win," and I think they placed 5th through 8th or something.
They got
fall?
4th. Oh, fall. I don't even know
Fall.
if they did.
This is fall.
Okay, yeah. Fall they didn't have a great run. I forget who they ran into, but spring they made top 3. But then
Spring,
Hammy
they
didn't
did
play in the
have a
3rd place match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, either way, I think where they are at right now in 8th is perfect for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I said, I'm gonna be a little biased here. I may put ODU higher than them. But other than that, I think they are perfectly where they are at. But I still think on a good day that team could possibly pop off. Especially because now he has I guess better supporting players. So
That's the whole point we're trying to make, is that we know Hammy Crackers is capable. I just don't think that Florida's going to be good just because of Hammy Crackers.
Yeah, it is so cool seeing him transition to a completely different role on Florida and have a team that looks completely different from FAU. And he's got so many years left. Like he was a dual enrollment player for FAU, and now is starting college at Florida. So he's going to be around for a while, which is going to be interesting. All right, next up, James Madison and George Mason, 2 big additions. These are teams that I really wanted in the SEL. And Teeehan, I know you're very familiar with one of those teams, maybe both, but I am so excited to have JMU and GMU in the league because they bring a lot of extra talent here. And you guys were close, but George Mason, you guys got the nod over JMU. And Teeehan, where do you personally rate yourselves as well as James Madison?
So for James Madison, we scrim them. Whenever we scrim them, we never lose to them. Well, like lose a game, but like scrim overall, we've never like done poorly against them. I think our play style works perfectly against theirs. I think they are a very fit in net type of team, and just play off counterattacks. So at least that's what they do against us. So I don't find them like. See, I'm not trying to like say this in any disrespect because James Madison is a good team, but if they are playing a team that knows how to beat them, they're going to lose to them every single time. And so if James Madison doesn't find a way to adapt to teams, I think that they will still be bottom of top 8, I'd say. However, I still think they have potential to end up beating some of these teams that are higher, like ETSU, which they did the other night. And I'm gonna say it right now, I think ETSU is a little too high on this list, especially because we've played them twice now. We played them in Summer Series Qual 2 in lowers, beat them 2-0. We played them on Bepic stream, beat them 4-1. We have yet to lose to ETSU, and so I find it funny when they are ranked higher than us because I feel like people don't go and look at results as often. And then the only other team that I question if we'd be better than is FIU, because we have yet to play them. However, when we have played them, we have never lost to them. So I don't know. Obviously, we got a new roster, so we'll see what happens. But I do think that some people may be sleeping on us. And while we, may go to game 5 or 2 in reverse sweep fashion, I think our only losses this summer come from Summer Series quals against Davenport's B team and who was it? Radford for the that one tournament. But every other actual tournament we played in, we have yet to lose. So I don't know. I even if we have close series, I still base winning over anything. So
It's fair. And Dylan, you made a face when Teeehan said ETSU was too high on the list. I know Skyline is one of the boys in the SEL, but what are your thoughts about where East Tennessee should be ranked?
Well, just to touch on JMU and GMU.
Yeah. We can lump them into the discussion since they're tied with GMU.
I
as
got
well.
you. I got you.
That.
I mean, realistically, like, I haven't had the best results against either JMU or GMU. They beat me both times. Teeehan said that they had a bad land at Boost on the Beach, and then they swept us the day that we played them.
Y'all took a game. Y'all took a game.
We took a game. We took a game, but we still lost. But yeah, I mean, those teams are definitely talented. It's like a lot of you guys already said. It's like they're bringing a lot more talent, which I think is awesome. I feel like it's great to have bigger names in the league that can really make like the finals really be more entertaining. Because I mean, you think about if we have the top 8 that we have listed here on land, like that's a really solid land. Like even if we just take it now, that'd be awesome. So I'm super happy to see those guys there. And I think as of right now, where they stand is great. I think they have the chance to prove that they're better than that. But, you know, just from where we've seen them, I think this is a good spot. I don't think people really understand why ETSU was good. When I played them, they move different, but it works. And I think that's what's threatening, is a team that is unpredictable. It's the same thing about Bama, except they just take it up to a whole nother level. And I truthfully feel like that's a good spot for them right now because their peak is really high, and I haven't really seen their floor yet. I mean, like they win, they do things, like they're just solid players. And I think a lot of these, except for the top 2, are truthfully just unproven. We have yet to see any results, and these are all preseason rankings. Yeah. So before people start yelling at us and be like, oh, this person's too high, this person's too low, it's like you haven't done anything yet except for a qualifier. Like, let's get later into the league, and then we can start, you know, really talking proper placements. But for right now, I really don't think there's any issue with where they are.
And Shaka, what are you thinking?
Personally, I don't really, or I haven't looked too much into the results between like JMU or GMU. However, the way I basically ranked it was how I base each player on those teams individually. And I think individually the players on GMU are better than the players on JMU. I would probably say like Titanium and Devin are both better than Gad and whoever the other person you'd put in there is, either Ability or Tyler. And I'd say James is probably up there too. Like, so I would say that the GMU players are better than the JMU players just on an individual basis. I mean, obviously we've played GMU before. We haven't played JMU before, but just from what I saw from them in CCS last semester, there wasn't really anything that stood out to me as this team has upset potential. It was more so they beat the teams they should beat, and they lose to the teams they shouldn't beat, and that's just kind of how they are. And then with ETSU, I kind of rate ETSU highly. I personally rate them over FIU, but that's just because I've seen a lot more of ETSU. I've seen a lot more of those players, and I haven't seen much of FIU. And while I've seen them have a good run in like CCS playoffs, they didn't really have as hard of a run to get there than like some of the other teams who did get to that same point did. So,
and I will say there's a chain of results here with like ETSU in the middle of them. They have lost to JMU, George Mason, and JMU has been beaten by FAU in Game 5 recently. But I rated East Tennessee lower, on the lower side, I think below GMU and JMU. Sorry, Skyline, I see you in chat. And apparently there's reasons that they've lost, but the results, I think, are speaking in terms of how I'm ranking ETSU at the moment. But we'll see once Division 1 starts. FIU, a team that's made a run. They were kind of our like consensus for between the unanimous top 3. And they, I think, deserve that spot, maybe outside of the Game 5 they went to against NKU in the qualifier. But FIU, do any of you guys have experience playing against them? Because, I mean, I know we know the results from CCS and all that, but any actual hands-on?
Nope.
A year ago, maybe.
Okay.
Have they changed their rosters for this fall, or the same roster?
Zernite, No Grav, and I forget their third.
I think
Okay.
it's Kai or maybe Donnie might be their new third, but I don't know. I don't know who they're playing with.
Okay.
We played them in CCA Opens and such before. Only one that I remember is Zernite. But if they did make upgrades, we have yet to play that team, so I have no idea.
Okay. Well, we'll find out once the SEL kicks off. CCS has already started, and that JMU win I think is a good start for FIU, who could be one of those teams making a run for LAN. Along with our top three, I'm going to lump them all together because we all agreed Tennessee, Bruton Parker, and then UNC Charlotte. I think the top two make the most sense. UTK is garnering so much hype with the Taibu edition, with beating the new look San Diego State and CCS. They beat Shawnee State on my stream, and I mean they look incredible right now. I need to give them a Bruton Parker show match, but BPC is a LAN team last year as well. I think they're Manny, Milk, and Antics for this semester, and then probably this year as well if they don't make changes. And then UNC Charlotte. For those that don't know, Knight and Lazy added Bala, which I want to start with UNC Charlotte. And whoever wants this can like jump on it first. But this is a team that has made a serious upgrade.
Yeah, because their team, before they had started trialing new rosters, up until they got Bala, it was Coolio and then going from Coolio to Blurry, then to Dead Devil, and now to Bala is, I mean, Blurry and Dead Devil both good players. Coolio, I mean, love what Coolio's trying to do for him, but or for UNCC, but I mean, a little bit of a robot when it comes to the pitch. No offense, actually. Well, he can take offense. I don't really care. But then up to Bala's very good. I'll just say that Bala, compared to the other players, Bala is a very good upgrade on their team.
I'm gonna step in real quick. All I'm gonna say is back in 2021 when I did play for GMU on our academy team, I beat Coolio and Big Man. So I don't know, but yeah, no. All right, sorry, I had to flex it out.
All
there real
right,
quick.
flexing on him. The
But,
now coach and manager.
Yeah. So, but I think with that team, Bala brings a lot of potential to that team. GMU has yet to see them, so I have no idea what they're gonna be like. But it's one of those teams where you gotta respect like names on that team if you haven't seen results. So I just had to put them at 3, out of just fairness, because that team, just looking at it, it's a scary team. So we'll see what happens. But I think 3's a solid spot for them. And yeah.
They 3-0 Texas in CCS already, so I mean,
That's a good
rate
result.
Texas however you want, but 3-0.
Yeah, like the only results I've seen from UNCC was when they first added Bala. Literally the second day Bala was officially on their roster, they scrimmed the main UTK guys, and they were like, we had just scrimmed them with Blurry like 2 days earlier, so they were like, oh, let's go see what they look like with Bala, and it was like 7-1 for UTK, and the one game they lost was a Joe Disaster class with open nets. He posted on Twitter a montage of him missing
That was
them,
that.
so yeah, that was game 8 of their scrim. But like that again, that's day 2. It's also scrims, and so I'm sure once they figure out how to play together and how they work well together, because like I hate playing against Knight, but I will say he is a good player. He's very annoying. He will just leave his half to demo you, which can open them up a lot of space. Lazy is very solid already, and then adding someone like Bala who's got the mechanical potential to just 1v3 if he needs to, and Knight demoing one, so it's actually just a 1v2, they can be very, very scary.
Well, that leaves our top 2. I mean, UTK and Bruton Parker get a lot of attention on this channel for being at the top of the CCS, and at the top is where I think they'll stay for a bit. I mean, do we need to talk about these guys? Because I know everyone here is familiar with BPC and UTK. BPC played in Summer Series with Sino along with Manny and Antics, and they did kind of well. Not super well at the top of CRL, but still a great run to just get there. UTK was one series off, still got their revenge against Shawnee State on my stream. Taibu's good. That roster's starting to click, and let's hope CRL comes back soon.
Agreed. I want to tag.
Can we get a thank you, Joe Bro, in chat, please? That's all I want to see.
Oh, and Shaka Hybrid has joined chat. Yeah, Hybrid, we were talking about the Full Sail Armada and UTK rivalry earlier. So, you got a shout out on stream. But that is the end of our power rankings segment. And I'm going to skip the SEL and CCS because we pretty much went over a ton of results, like using CCS results to talk about the SEL power rankings. So, I want to move into our final topics of the night. Draw show and the SEL Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame I teased a couple weeks ago on State of the SEL. And I would like to announce that the Hall of Fame will be announced before the draw show on Tuesday. Now, we're running the draw show at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. And the Hall of Fame induction ceremony is how we will start that stream. So, that's the end of our show. Everyone make sure your Tuesdays are cleared, because the Bepic hat, I've got it right here, is going to be deciding your groups again. So get ready for that. I know everyone on this panel is excited to have their fates decided by my hat.
I'm looking forward to it. It is. It is.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm really not looking forward to seeing Montevallo and Buds in my group.
That'd be so
Don't do that
stacked.
to me.
That'd be
Don't do
such
that
a
to me,
stacked
please.
group.
Can we change it if that happens?
Nope.
What do you mean?
I just hope I'm not in the group with main UTK. That's it. I just
we
don't
live
wanna
in
be
a
their group.
We live in a world where the bottom 8 could be in a group with with only bottom 8 and then top 8 only top 8.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Depends on what the hat decides.
Wait, that's a thing? Are we for real?
Yeah, no, I get little pieces of paper with all the team names, and I draw them from the hat based on qualifier results, and that's how we determine
Yes.
groups. It's randomized.
You have 64 pieces of paper in that hat.
Well, no, it'll be, we're dividing it. So it's going to be like the top 8 teams, I think, first from Division 1, and then the second 8 teams. So actually there's not a world where all of those teams go in one group. So we'll alternate the top 8, and then the bottom 8, and then Division 2 gets a lot wilder. I'm not going to try and remember that off the top of my head, but it's segmented. So it'll be like, it's randomized, but it's segmented based on qualifier results. So it's not like all the best teams in one group and, you know, all the worst teams in another. But that is on Tuesday. And Dyln, you're wasting your points timing out Maysal.
Oh no, I'm not. He dare curse me. He said, "Put Clemson be in my group." No, don't do that, Bepic.
All right.
Don't do that.
It's not me deciding. That's a misconception. Last spring, like, this is not me deciding. It is the hat that decides. I have nothing to do with it. I'm just the messenger. So don't ask me.
I'm gonna shoot the messenger too.
No, don't shoot the messenger. All right.
Yeah, I'll let it slide.
Thank you, Dyln. We're gonna wrap up now. I do want final statements. You make them however short or however long, but not too long. You guys want. Teeehan, I'll start with you since you're on the top side with me.
Yeah. So looking forward to the season. I mean, hey, EMU's first time in SEL. We'll try and make sure to show ourselves and prove ourselves to everybody, and hopefully Skyline's ready for the rematch.
All right, Shaka, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, always looking forward to playing the SEL, and hopefully nobody that I said was overrated hates me now.
Dude,
Fair enough.
You, oh my gosh, real quick. This guy, he's always like, I'm gonna tell everybody. Everybody's gonna get smoked. And then he over here at the end of it, I hope nobody hates me. Shut up. Stand on business, bro.
They can hate
They
me.
can be
I
doing
mean, I
that.
don't really care, but PR. Joe told me to say that.
PR Joe, bro.
I guess. All I have to say is best of luck to everybody this season. It's going to be awesome. We got way more people than we've ever had in the SEL. We love seeing it get bigger. It's going to be super fun. And I hope I don't see Clemson B again.
All right, we'll see what the hat decides on Tuesday. 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, SEL Hall of Fame induction ceremony. You'll see which 5 legends of the Southeastern Esports League are inducted in the first ceremony. I'm excited for that. It's my little pet project. So we'll see what happens, both with that and the draw show. Groups will be decided, fates will be sealed by the Bepic hat. One more time, I'll put it on stream because I love this hat. But thank you all for watching. I'm probably going to raid the CCS. I think they're still live. Yeah, California's playing UCLA right now. So go pop over there and have some fun with the D1 League. A lot of SEL teams play in the CCS. But I'm starting that raid. Thanks to my awesome panel for joining me tonight. That was fantastic. Thank you to everyone that watched tonight. I will watch the draw show and compete in the SEL. It's going to be a great season. But I'm ending now, so I'll catch you later. Peace out, everybody.